This meeting is being recorded.
Network ID. Yeah, already it is available. So I have deleted that. Now I am going to create this Docker network, my Macvallan network. Now it is created. Now can we see that Docker network ls? Now you see my Macvallan network got created using Macvallan driver. So this is the ID. This is the ID. We can inspect Docker network, inspect this ID. So it is going to display all the details about that network driver, the network which we have created. So this is the subnet for that, and this is the gateway for that. Subnet is available, gateway is available. Currently, is there any container which is associated to this network? Guys, when I inspect this, can you see, is there any container which is associated to this network currently? Is there any container which is associated to this network? No. How I have inspected that? How I have inspected that? So whatever the network I have created, I have just inspected that no containers are attached to that. Now I want to run a container by attaching to this my Macvallan network. Demo Macvallan network. Now my network, my Macvallan network. I want to just run one image, Alpine image, something like this, a basic image that I'm taking. I just want to run this. Go here. Now execute this command. So if you see in this command, I am giving network as my Macvallan network. Unable to find the Alpine image, right? So it is going to pull the image from the Docker hub. The pulling got completed. Now let's do the inspection. Docker network inspect network ID. Now can you see the container is attached to this? Now can you see the container is attached to this? Am I able to run a container by using the Macvallan network which we have created? Yes, we have created one network by using Macvallan driver, and we used that network to run our container. So whenever we use this Macvallan network, it is going to assign a MAC address for our container. If that means it's most like a physical machine. It is like a physical machine. A MAC address is assigned. A unique address will be assigned for our container when we go for this Macvallan network driver. Got it, guys? Fine. So we discussed about three types of drivers: bridge driver, how to create our own bridge driver, how to create our own network by using bridge driver, how to use the host driver, how to use Macvallan driver. None means nothing will be used, no network will be available. Overlay that will be used in the Docker Swarm concept. Clear? So with this we understood what is this Docker networking concept. Now the most important, I can say, in the Docker, what is that Docker orchestration? What is that Docker orchestration that we are going to understand? But currently nowadays that Docker orchestration is getting used with Kubernetes concept, guys. But in the Docker itself, we can do the orchestration. We can do the Docker orchestration by using Docker Swarm concept. So the last topic which is pending in the Docker, that is Docker Swarm, right? So as of now, we discussed about these concepts in the Docker. So Docker networking, Docker network drivers, creating custom networks, running containers with custom network. So these topics we covered so far. The last topic in the Docker, that is Docker Swarm. The last topic, that is Docker Swarm. Guys, in the real time, Docker Swarm does not have that much demand. Docker Swarm does not have that much demand because in the industry, people are using Kubernetes as an alternate for Docker Swarm. So Docker Swarm is not that much important currently in the market. Earlier, people used to work with the Docker Swarm, but nowadays people are using Kubernetes. Whatever we can do by using Docker Swarm, same thing can be done with a more effective approach in the Kubernetes. Docker Swarm is an orchestration tool provided by Docker. Docker Swarm is an orchestration tool provided by Docker software. What is orchestration? Orchestration means managing processes. So whatever we are running by using Docker, we are running containers, managing the containers, handling the failovers, auto scaling, load balancing, all these things comes under orchestration. Docker is a containerization platform. By using Docker, we can create the container. Now, let's take an example. I am running one container, Docker container I'm running for my application. So this is container. In this container, my application is running. For example, if there is some problem in the container, that container got stopped. If the container got stopped, then can we access our application? We are running our application by using a Docker running our application by using a container. If that container got failed due to some issue, maybe some network issue, maybe some memory issue, maybe some other problem occurred in that machine went down, that machine got stopped. All of a sudden, due to high CPU utilization, that machine got failed. That container is not running. If that container is not running, can we access our application or we cannot access our application? Guys, if that machine is not running, can we access our application or we cannot access our application? We cannot access our application. Can I say that it is single point of failure? My application is running in a container. Suddenly, that machine got collapsed. That machine got some issues. That system ran into some problem. Now, container got stopped. If that container got stopped, then our application is going to be down. So can we guarantee high availability for the customers when we are running our application in the single container? Can we guarantee about high availability for our application when we are running our project in a single container? No, we cannot guarantee high availability for the customers when we are going with a single container. So what we need to do? We need to do the load balancing for our application. Instead of running an application in one container, I want to run my application in multiple containers for load balancing. I want to run my application in multiple containers. So here I am going to specify this as container 1 and this one container 2 and this one is a container 3. Same application I want to run in 3 containers, container 1, container 2 and container 3. Managing these containers individually is the difficult process because 3 containers I want to start. For example, I want to deploy my application into one more container. Scalability, I want to increase the number of containers or I want to decrease the containers, like that. I want to do scaling for my application. Managing multiple containers is difficult. So that's why we are going to use one software which is provided by the Docker, that is called Docker Swarm. We are going to use one software which is called as Docker Swarm. What is this Docker Swarm? Docker Swarm is going to manage the containers, load balancing, starting the containers and all, assigning the work to the containers. Everything will be taken care by Docker Swarm. As the Docker Swarm is managing the containers, managing the load on the containers, Docker Swarm is called as orchestration software. Sir, what are the other tools are available for orchestration? Do we have only Docker Swarm? No. So there are several tools, there are several softwares available in the market for orchestration purpose. Orchestration, nothing but managing the containers, managing the processes, managing the containers, load balancing for the containers, configuring the containers, managing the containers. That is called as orchestration. In the market, there are several tools available to perform that orchestration. Docker Swarm is one of that. Kubernetes is one of the orchestration platform. OpenShift is one of the orchestration platform. In the market currently, Kubernetes is having a lot of demand for orchestration platforms creation. Docker is used for containerization. Docker Swarm is used for orchestration. As we have another software which is called Kubernetes open source platform available for orchestration. So Kubernetes is having more demand than Docker Swarm in the market. We can say that Kubernetes is alternate, is a replacement for the Docker Swarm. Kubernetes is not replacement for the Docker. Kubernetes is a replacement for the Docker Swarm. So in the current market, people are not using Docker Swarm, but just for sake of syllabus, I'm going to cover what is this Docker Swarm. Whatever we do by using Docker Swarm, same thing we can do by using Kubernetes also, and more advantages are there when we go for this Kubernetes concept. From Monday, we are going to start our discussion related to Kubernetes. Okay, guys. Now, before going to start that Kubernetes, first I want to give you some overview related to Docker Swarm, and I want to show you one example with the Docker Swarm as well. So with this, are you guys able to understand what is Docker Swarm? Docker Swarm is an orchestration tool provided by Docker software. Orchestration means managing processes. We have several softwares to perform orchestration for our containers. Container will be created by Docker, but managing those containers individually is difficult. Running one application in the multiple containers, scaling our application. So I want to increase the number of containers based on the demand. Managing such kind of work is difficult manually. So that's why we need a tool which can perform that containers management. The software which is the tool which is managing our containers is called as orchestration software. So in the Docker, we have a orchestration software that is called Docker Swarm. So as a replacement for the Docker Swarm, in the industry, people are using Kubernetes. Kubernetes is having more demand than the Docker Swarm. So let's try to understand some details related to this Docker Swarm. Right. I prepared your notes, guys, how we need to set up the Docker Swarm in our system and how to do one example by using Docker Swarm that I'm going to show you. Good. So Docker Swarm is a container orchestration software. Orchestration means managing processes or managing containers. Container is nothing but a process only. Managing the containers is called as Docker Swarm. Docker Swarm is used to set up Docker cluster. What is the meaning of cluster? Running our application in the multiple containers is called as a cluster. This Docker Swarm is a tool provided by the Docker, which is used to set up the cluster to run our containers. Cluster, I can say load balancer. Cluster we can call as a load balancer. Got it. Cluster we can call it as a load balancer. Docker Swarm is a container orchestration software. Orchestration means managing the processes or containers. I can say that. Docker Swarm is used to set up the Docker cluster. Docker cluster means load balancing kind of thing. Load balancing. This Docker Swarm is embedded in the Docker engine itself. You don't need to install the Docker engines separately. If you install the Docker in a machine, that means Docker Swarm also will be available. Cluster means what? Cluster means group of servers, which is used for load balancing. Cluster means group of servers, which is used for load balancing. Docker Swarm is embedded inside the Docker engine. So we already discussed master-slave architecture in the Jenkins. Guys, do you remember master-slave architecture that we discussed in the Jenkins? Do you remember master-slave architecture we discussed in the Jenkins? Similarly here, by using this Docker Swarm, we are going to set up master and slave concept. Master and slave concept. Master will schedule the tasks and manage the nodes, and nodes will run our containers. So Docker Swarm is going to act as a master node. That master node is going to schedule the task to the worker nodes. Worker nodes are going to run our containers. Okay, so Docker Swarm is having some advantages. Rolling updates we can do, security will be available, load balancing we can do, service discovery will be available, multi-host network, scaling we can implement, declarative service model. You need to tell what you want. That's it. It is going to perform that operation. Cluster management can be done by using Docker Swarm. These are the some of the features of the Docker Swarm. So basically, this Docker Swarm is used to set up a cluster for the Docker containers. So to manage multiple containers, to scale the containers based on the demand, we are going to use this Docker Swarm concept. Now, how to set up this Docker Swarm? So do we need to do the Docker Swarm setup separately, or it is included in the Docker itself? Do we need to set up the Docker Swarm separately, or it is included in the Docker itself? Come on. Do we need to set up a Docker Swarm separately? A Docker Swarm is embedded in the Docker engine itself. Docker Swarm is embedded in the Docker engine itself. You no need to install it separately. All of you read these points once. All of you read these points about the Docker Swarm. What is Docker Swarm and why we are going to use this Docker Swarm? Come on. Come on, guys. Are you able to read it? Docker Swarm is a containerization. Sorry, Docker is a containerization software. Swarm is a orchestration software. Containerization software, nothing but it is going to manage all the softwares which are required to execute our application. Okay. Orchestration, nothing but it is going to manage the processes. Orchestration, nothing but it is going to manage all the processes which are required to execute our application. Good. So what is the competitor for Docker Swarm? Kubernetes. Kubernetes is also orchestration platform to manage Docker containers. Kubernetes is not alternative for the Docker, guys. Kubernetes will use the Docker containers only. Kubernetes is alternate for the Docker Swarm. Good. There are some of the features available in the Docker Swarm. Mainly decentralized design will be available. Declarative service model, scaling we can do, load balancing we can do, and they are secured by default. Setup of the Docker Swarm. I'm going to take 3 EC2 instances with Ubuntu operating system. This Docker Swarm is going to run on the port number 2377, guys. We need to enable this 2377 port in the security group. So these are the 2 commands which we can use to install the Docker in our Ubuntu machine. I'm going to take 3 EC2 instances with Ubuntu operating system. One machine I'm going to use as a master machine where the Docker Swarm will be available. In the remaining 2 machines, we are going to install the Docker where we are going to use them as nodes. In all the 3 machines, Docker software should be installed. 1 machine I'm going to use as a master machine, and the 2 machines I'm going to use as a node machines. So master machine is going to schedule the task, and the node machines are going to execute the task. Task means containers creation, containers execution. Okay, here first I'm going to set up 3 EC2 instances. So when we are working with this Docker Swarm, it is going to run on a port number called 2377. We need to enable that port. So what I'm trying to do here is I am going to create 3 EC2 instances. I'm going to create 3 EC2 instances. 3 EC2 instances. This is worker node 1 and worker node 2. First one will be called as master node, Docker Swarm master machine, Docker Swarm, Docker master. I can say it as a master node. And this one, I will call it as worker node 1. Worker node 1. And I will call it as worker node 2. Worker node 1 and worker node 2. Worker node 1 and worker node 2 should be registered with the master node as a worker. Should be registered with the master node as a worker. So I'm going to create 3 EC2 instances. 1 EC2 instance I'm going to consider as a master node, and the remaining 2 EC2 instances I will consider as worker nodes. Now Docker Swarm will be initialized here, and these 2 worker nodes will be registered with this master node. Okay, sir, if I have only 1 master node, can I guarantee high availability? If I have only 1 master node, can I guarantee high availability? If this master node is failed, then what will happen? Application will be collapsed or not? If this master node is failed, application will be collapsed or not? If it is failed, it will be collapsed. Docker Swarm is used for orchestration purpose. Orchestration nothing but managing the containers, implementing the load balancing for the containers, scaling our application by running in the multiple containers. So here we are going to follow master and slave architecture in the Docker Swarm. So in one machine I'm considering as a master node. Remaining 2 machines I'm considering as worker nodes. So master node machine will schedule the task. Will assign the task to the worker nodes. Worker nodes are going to run the containers. Okay, for example, if one worker node is failed, Docker master node will create another worker node. It is going to take care of node failures. If any particular worker node is failed, Docker Swarm will automatically create another worker node to scale our application. So currently 2 worker nodes are available. This worker node got failed due to some problem. Then automatically another worker node will be created by Docker Swarm. If a worker node is failed, then master node is going to handle that failure. It is going to create another worker node to run our application. For example, if master node is failed, then complete system is going to collapse. So that's why it is not recommended to run the clusters, containerization clusters with one master node. We are going to create multiple master nodes. When we are creating multiple master nodes, we need to follow a concept called Docker Swarm Manager Quorum. There is a concept called Docker Swarm Manager Quorum. What is that manager quorum? If we run only one master node, then we cannot guarantee high availability for the application, because if that master node is failed, then complete system is going to collapse. So instead of running, I want to run with two master nodes. I want to run with two master. I cannot guarantee high availability. What is the reason? Here, whenever we are creating master nodes in the Docker Swarm, we need to follow a formula called n minus 1 by 2. How many master nodes you are going to create? That will be n minus 1 by 2. For example, if we take two master nodes, 2 minus 1 by 2, 1 by 2, 0 0.5, 0.5, that means it cannot become master. If the main master is failed, if I take two servers, two master servers, worker nodes can be anything. If one worker is failed, then no problem. That failure will be handled by Docker Swarm. But if I take one master node, if that master node is failed, then complete system is going to collapse. So that is called as Docker Swarm Manager QAM. So if you take two master nodes, still high availability will not be available. The reason, whenever you are setting up master nodes, we need to go for a formula n minus 1 by 2. So if I take two master nodes, 2 minus 1, 1 by 2, 0 0.5. 0 0.5 means not even one machine, not even one master. 0.5, it cannot become a master. If I take three master nodes, I'm going to take a odd number. I'm going to take 3 minus 1, 3 minus 1 by 2. So 2 by 2, 3 minus 1, 2 by 2, 2 by 2 is 1. That means if I take three master nodes, if any one master node is failed, the remaining master node can become a leader and it is going to manage the cluster. So always when we are creating cluster to manage our containers, we need to take a odd number for the master nodes. Otherwise, we cannot guarantee on high availability. So are you guys able to understand what is Docker Swarm Manager QAM? If you take only one master node to manage the cluster, high availability will not be available for your application. If that master node got failed, then complete system is going to collapse. So if you want to provide the high availability for the system, if you take two master nodes, with the two master nodes also, you cannot guarantee high availability because you need to take a formula n minus 1 by 2. If one master node is failed, then other master node should become a leader, should run the cluster. So Docker Swarm mainly we are using to create the container clusters. Docker cluster I want to set up. To set up the Docker cluster, cluster means multiple containers I want to run and I want to manage these multiple containers. To manage these multiple containers only, we are going for Docker Swarm. So when we are setting the Docker Swarm, we are going to set a master node and we are going to set the worker nodes. So these worker nodes will be managed by master node. If any particular worker node is failed in the execution, one of my worker node is failed, no problem. This master node is going to set up another worker node as a replacement. It is going to run that. So that is called as orchestration. My container, my Docker containers running in three worker nodes. One of the worker node got failed due to some issue, no problem. Docker Swarm cluster is going to take care of that node failure. It is going to start another node. Got my point? But if a master node is failed, then complete system will be collapsed. So whenever you are setting up this containerization cluster, we need to go for multiple master nodes. Then only we can get high availability. When we have multiple master nodes, what will happen? If one master node is failed, then another master node will become a leader, will run this cluster. But if you go with one master node, no availability. If you go with the two master nodes also, no availability, no high availability. The reason, manager QAM concept is there. N minus 1 by 2 formula we need to apply. If you take two master nodes, 2 minus 1, 1 by 2, that means off only. That means not even one master node available to run it. So that is not good practice. If I take three master nodes, 3 minus 1, 2 by 2, 1. That means if one master node is failed, then other master node can become a leader and will run that cluster. Always use odd number for master machines when we are using Docker Swarm cluster. when we are using Docker Swarm cluster. Okay, good. Now I want to set up this. I want to set up this. I want to set up this and I want to run this process. Okay, fine guys. Now how to set up this Docker Swarm and how to run our application. Good. So first, let me create 3 EC2 instances. So here I'm not taking multiple master nodes guys, but I will show you how to add that also. I'm going to take one master node and I'm going to take 2 worker nodes. Worker nodes I will register with the master node. Fine. Go to EC2 instances. I'm going to create 3 EC2 instances, 1 for master, 2 for workers. Instances, launch instance. This time I'm going to take Ubuntu. Ubuntu server I'm going to take. T2 micro. Instance details, number of instances, 3 I'm taking. I'm taking 3 instances guys. Storage, a default. Security group, I'm selecting existing security group. Make sure you are enabling 2377 port number. I already mentioned here. Enable 2377 port number for Swarm cluster communications. Docker Swarm should run on the 2377 port range. So then only worker nodes can register with this master node. Review, launch. Use Linux key pair. Use Linux key pair. Now, see here, 3 EC2 instances getting started. Let's go to them. Filter the instances by using state. Instance state is equal to running. Let's wait. 3 machines we are starting now. I will name them Swarm master node. Yeah, 3 machines got up. 3 machines are running. With Ubuntu OS, I'm running these 3 machines. So let me name this as Swarm master node. Swarm master node. One I'm mentioning as Swarm worker node. Worker node 1. Another one I'm mentioning as Swarm worker node 2. Are you guys clear with this? Master node, worker node. 1 machine I mentioned as master node. 2 machines I named them as worker nodes. Now in all the 3 machines we need to install Docker, because when we install the Docker, then Docker Swarm engine will come along with the Docker engine. First, let me connect it to the master node by using public IP. Go to this. Guys, I'm created Ubuntu machines, so the username will be Ubuntu. Session SSH. Specify the username as Ubuntu. For Amazon Linux, the default username will be EC2 user. For Ubuntu, the default username will be Ubuntu. I used Linux PEM file. Select this, click on OK. Yep. Connected to this machine. This machine is my master node. Let me install Docker here. So using this command, you can install Docker. Just download that. Once it is downloaded, just execute get docker.sh. It is going to install Docker. Let's wait for some time. If this installation got successful in the master node, then I will connect it to the worker nodes also, and I will install the Docker. In all the machines, we need to install the Docker. in master nodes as well as in the worker nodes, we need to install this Docker. Yes, installation got success. So let's verify. Docker info, permission denied, sudo docker info. So can we see Docker is running? Yes, Docker info we are able to get. Currently see the swarm status. Currently the Docker swarm status is inactive. Currently the Docker swarm status is inactive. Okay, fine. Now let me connect it to the remaining two machines and let me install Docker. Worker node 1, take its public IP address, SSH, remote host, username is Ubuntu. Connect to this machine using this PEM file. Yep, connected. Now here also install Docker. Two commands, just download it. Now execute this. It is going to install. Meanwhile, let me connect it to second worker node. Copy this public IP, SSH, Ubuntu is the default username for Ubuntu machines. Connected. Guys, we can consider in the same order. The first tab is representing my master node. Second tab is representing worker node 1. Third tab is representing worker node 2. Now let me install the Docker in the worker node 2 as well. Download it, then install it. Okay. It is getting installed. In the first worker node, it is success. So let's verify sudo docker info. Yep, Docker is started, but the swarm is currently inactive. In the second worker node, it is getting installed. Once this installation got successful, now I will show you how to start that Docker swarm in main master node and how to register worker nodes with the master node, how to submit the task to worker nodes, how to scale our application by using multiple containers. Everything we will see practically. Yeah, here also it got installed. Sudo docker info. Fine. So in all the three machines, Docker is available now. If the Docker is available, that means Docker Swarm is also available. We no need to install Docker Swarm separately. Docker Swarm is available embedded. It is embedded inside the Docker engine. Good. So with this, we have done this setup. Now here we need to represent one machine as a master machine. So currently I just renamed it. 3 instances I have started. Just I have renamed these 3 instances. One machine name I have given as a master node. In another machine, for second machine, I gave the name as a worker node 1. For third machine, I gave the name as a worker node 2. But all the 3 machines are having the same configuration now. In all the 3 machines, I have installed Docker software. So here, 3 EC2 instances available. These 3 EC2 instances are having the Docker. Now, in these 3 EC2 instances, I want to represent one machine as a master node. 2 machines I want to represent as worker nodes. Worker nodes should be registered with the master node. Then master node will manage the worker nodes. Then master node will submit the task to the worker nodes. That is what we need to do. How to represent one machine as a master node? First tab machine, I'm going to consider as a master node. In order to expose this machine as a master node, we need to execute one command like this. Sudo docker swarm init. Whenever you use sudo docker swarm init, it is going to initialize docker swarm in that machine. In which machine you are going to initialize the docker swarm, that machine is called as master machine for the docker swarm. That is called as master node. And advertise the address. I'm going to specify private IP as a advertising IP. Using this private IP, these machines should be registered with the master machine. Now, so this master node is having a public IP and private IP. I don't want to give the public IP because it is a dynamic IP. Every time it is going to change. So this is a private IP of our master node. Okay. Now how to represent this machine as a master node machine? Guys, how to represent this machine as a master node machine? To represent this machine as a master node machine, we are going to use one command called docker sudo docker swarm init. That's it. So when you execute this command called docker swarm init command, this machine will be considered as a master machine, and I'm going to expose private IP for this master machine so that worker nodes can be connected to the master node by using private IP of the master node. So are you able to understand what is this command? Connect to the master machine and execute below command sudo docker swarm init. When I use sudo docker swarm init, docker master node, docker swarm will be initialized, and I am telling that use this IP address, private IP I am giving. Now let me go here, copy this command. This is the private IP of my master machine, guys. Docker swarm init. I'm not installing docker swarm because I installed docker. When we install the docker swarm will come along with the docker. It is embedded in the docker. So take this URL. In the first tab, I am going to execute this. This is my private IP I copied. Sudo docker swarm init. It is used to initialize the docker swarm. I'm specifying this. This is the private IP. Right. Can you guys read this? What is the message it is displaying? Docker swarm initialized. Current node is now a manager. This node became a Docker swarm manager node, master node. Okay. To add a worker to this swarm, run the following command. Other two machines are available, right? I want to register them as a workers to the master. How can I register these worker nodes to the master? This is the command we need to execute. If you execute this command, those machines will become worker nodes and they will register with the master node. Okay. Suppose I want to go for multiple master nodes for high availability. If you want to add one more machine as a master node, then what you need to do? They are clearly telling that to add a manager to this swarm, run docker swarm join token manager and follow the instructions. So already it is displaying one token. This token it is generated. Using this token, you can register a worker node. Go to any machine, execute this command. That machine will be registered as a worker machine to the master node or manager machine. Okay. Suppose I want to add a manager, another manager for a high availability. If I want to add another manager for a high availability, I will execute this command. If I execute this command, it is going to display one token. That token, if I execute, then that machine will become another manager. Okay. See here, to add a manager to this swarm, run the following command. Go to one EC2 instance, execute this. Then that machine will become another manager node. So are you able to understand how to add multiple master nodes and how to add worker node to the master node? So here the commands are available. First, we need to represent one machine as a master node machine. For that, we are having docker swarm init command. I'm going to expose private IP of that machine so that worker nodes can be registered using a token with that private IP. Now, if I want to get a token to register a worker, you can execute this command. By default, this command will give you token. So for example, after one day, I again want to generate a token to register a worker. So how can we generate a token? Sudo docker swarm join token for worker. I want a token to add a worker to the master. Sudo docker swarm join token for worker. It is giving a token for adding the worker. Go to EC2 instance, execute this command. That machine will be added as a worker. If you want to add another manager, join token I need for a manager. That's it. So this command is used to add a manager. This command is used to add a worker. How we are getting that token? By using the commands. Sudo docker swarm, I want a join token for worker node. Sudo docker swarm join token for manager. So when I give join token with the manager, it will give you a token. That token I need to execute in the another EC2 that will become a manager, master node. We can add more than one master node for high availability. Suppose if I want to add a worker node, then I just need to execute this command. Then that machine will be added as a worker machine. Are you guys clear? Good. Now, currently I generated a token, but I have not added any worker node. Let's execute sudo docker info. Sudo docker info. Now let's go here. Can you see what is the status of the swarm? What is the status of the swarm? Earlier it was inactive. Now currently what is the status of the swarm? It is active. This is the ID. It is manager or worker. This machine, first tab machine, is manager true or false? Is manager is true. Is manager is true means what? This machine is acting as a manager node. I can say it is a master node. Can we add one master node to another master node? Can I add multiple master nodes to the Docker Swarm cluster? Can I add multiple master nodes to the Docker Swarm cluster? Come on, guys. Can we add multiple master nodes to the Docker Swarm cluster? How to add multiple master nodes to the Docker Swarm cluster? What is required to add another master node? Join token is required. Join token is required. How to get the join token? Docker Swarm join token manager. This token, if you execute in another machine, that also will become master node. How to add worker node to the master node? We need to execute a command called Docker Swarm join token worker. It is giving a worker token. If you execute this command, then that machine will be added as a worker. How to initialize the Docker Swarm in our machine? Docker Swarm init. Docker Swarm init. Whenever you execute this command, that will become a manager, master node. Okay, guys, good. Now, let me go to this machines, worker node machines, and I want to initialize. I want to execute this command, join token worker token, so that they will be registered as worker nodes to the master node. Okay, let me take this. Let me execute here with sudo. The node joined a swarm as a worker. Can you see the success message now? Can you see the success message now? Is it joined as a worker now? Yes, one machine is joined as a worker. Now let's go here, sudo docker swarm ls. Sudo docker swarm ls. Docker swarm command, init command, join token, leave command, unlock, update commands are available. Okay, fine. Next, let's go to another machine, execute same command. Let's go to another machine, execute the same command. Worker machine, I want to add it as a worker. Copy this token command. Let's go here, sudo execute it. This node joined a swarm as a worker. So now with this, are we able to set up Swarm cluster? One machine I made as a master node by executing Swarm init. In two machines, I executed token command, worker token command. Those two machines registered to the master node. So with this, Docker Swarm cluster is created. With this, Docker Swarm cluster got created. Okay, guys. Are you guys clear with my point? Now, here we want to run our container using Docker Swarm cluster. Now, Docker Swarm is created. Docker Swarm cluster is created. One master node is available. Two worker nodes are available. I want to run my Java web application using Docker Swarm cluster. I want to run my Java application by using Docker Swarm cluster. So here, earlier, how we used to run the containers using Docker run command. If I run the project, if I run the image by using Docker run command, it will execute with only one container. Now you want to run your project as a single container, or you want to run your project by using Docker Swarm cluster? Earlier, how we executed a image, guys? Can you tell me the command to run a container? What is the command we followed earlier? What is the command we followed earlier to run a container? I will give you an image. How can you run that image? What is the command you used earlier to run a Docker container? What is the command you used earlier to run a Docker container? I'm waiting for your answer. Docker run command. Docker run -d -p. Docker run -d -p port mapping image name we use it to specify. Okay, guys. If you go for a Docker run command, in how many containers it is going to run your image? In how many containers it is going to run your image if you use a run command? It is going to run in only one container. Now, do you want to run your application in one container, or you want to run your application by using Swarm cluster? Do you want to run your application by using one container, or you want to run it by using Swarm cluster? By using Swarm cluster. So we should not go for run command now. We should not go for run command. What we need to do is to deploy our application using Swarm cluster, we need to go for Docker Swarm service. In Docker Swarm, we need to deploy our application as a service. If you use Docker run if we use Docker run command, then our application will be executed in one container. If we use the Docker run command, then our application will be executed in one container. If I run in one container, if that container is failed, then my application is going to be down. There is no high availability. So I don't want to run my application in the single container. I want to perform orchestration for my application. I want a orchestration platform. If one container is failed, then I want to start another container to run my application. If the container is failed, automatically another container should start to run my application. I'm looking for such a kind of cluster platform to manage my containers. That's where Docker Swarm came into picture. Okay, so in this Docker Swarm cluster, I configured one master node and I configured two worker nodes. We know how to configure the master node and how to configure worker nodes also. Once this setup is ready, now I want to run my application as a Docker service. In order to run our application as a Docker service, there is a command called docker sudo docker service create a name I am giving for that. Port mapping I am going to do, image name I am going to specify. So I am having one image called Java web app image available in my account. In my account, Java web app image is available. So we can pull that image first. we can pull that image first. Docker pull Ashok IT slash Java web app. Java web app. Sudo permission we need. Docker pull. Array yaar, I gave the wrong name. I'm trying to pull that image. It is available in my Docker Hub account. Ashok IT Java web app, it is a public image. You can also pull that image. You can also pull that image. All right. The image downloaded from Docker library. From Docker Hub, we have downloaded that image. Now we can see that, array yaar, where I have pulled that image. In the worker node I pulled. I should go to master node. Sorry guys. Yeah, I'm going to do pulling here in the master node. So task will be submitted by master node or a task will be submitted by worker node. Who should submit the task? Master node or worker node? Master node. I need to pull it in the master node. Sudo docker pull Ashok IT slash Java web app. I have one web app image in my Docker Hub account. I'm going to pull that. I'm going to pull that. Once the image is available, then we can execute our image. Two ways we can execute, guys. In two ways we can execute. Docker images. Currently there is only one image available here. Sudo docker images. Currently there is only one image available. That too, I pulled that image from my Docker Hub account, which is Ashok IT Java web app. Okay, so I can run this image by using docker run command. But what is the problem if I go with this run command? Docker run -d -p 8080 colon 8080 space Ashok IT slash Java web app. Can I execute like this? Can I run my image like this? Come on guys. If I run like this, a container will be created, my application will be executed. But what is the problem? What is the problem? My application will run in only one container. If that container is failed, then my application is going to be down. There is no availability, high availability not available. I don't want to run this application in one container. I want to run this application in the cluster by using Docker Swarm. This machine is already represented as a master node. I want to run this application by using that Swarm cluster. To run our application in the Swarm cluster, we need to run it as a Docker service. Docker service. What is the Docker service? Service is a collection of one or more containers of same image. My image is available. That image I want to run in the cluster. That means I want to create multiple containers. I want to create multiple containers. Okay, so there are two types of services available. One is a global service, another one is a replica service. Now, in order to run your application in the Docker Swarm cluster using Docker service, you need to go for this syntax. Docker service, create service name, port mapping, image name. Instead of run command, we are using service command. If you go for run command, one container will be created. When you go for service, cluster is used to run your image. Okay. Now, sudo docker service create name. I'm giving the name as a Java web app. Port mapping. Web application is running on the Tomcat server with 8080. I want to map that to the 8080 in the host machine also. Then I want to give the image name. Now, let's take this. Before going to take this, let me execute this command sudo docker service ls. Currently, is there any service running, guys? Currently, is there any service running in my master node? Is there any service running in my master node currently? No. I have an image. Do we have the image now? do we have image in our machine? Come on. Sudo docker images. Image is available. Ashok IT Java web application. If the image is not available, no problem. It is going to pull it from that Docker Hub repository. Now let me execute. Sudo docker service create a service with a name called Java web app, port mapping, image name. Now let's take it. Let's take it. Give this command. Execute. Docker service is getting created. It is verifying the tasks are stable. Yes, service is converged. Now let's go for sudo docker service ls. Can you see one docker service got created? For my image, one docker service got created. Yes. This is the ID of the service. This is the name of the service. Mode is replicated. Replica 1 by 1. Actual plus expected. Currently, my image is running in how many containers? Currently, my image is running in how many containers, guys? Only in one container. So this is the name of the image. This is the port mapping. Let's go here. Let's access this public IP with 8080 port number. My application context path is Java web app. Java web app. Am I able to access my application? Am I able to access my application in the browser, which is running in the Docker Swarm? Am I able to access my application which is running in the Docker Swarm? Yes. I pulled my image from the Docker Hub account. I executed that Docker image by using Docker Swarm cluster with the help of Docker service. Fine. But currently, how many containers are created to run my application now? How many replicas available for my image now? Only one. Only one. How can we check this? Sudo docker service ls. Now my service name is Java web app. I have given that service name. Whenever I'm executing this command, docker service create name as a Java web app. This is the port mapping. This is the image name. By default, one replica will be created. That means one container is created to run my application. Now I want to scale my application. I want to orchestrate my application. I want to increase the replicas. I want to increase the replicas. In order to increase the replicas, we can go for docker service scale. Sudo docker service scale. Which service you want to scale? How many replicas you want to create? That you can specify. Okay, guys. Now let's take this command. Service name and a number of replicas. Okay. So what is the service name? Java-web-app. Number of replicas I want as 3. I want to run my application in 3 replicas. Service name is Java. Web app is equal to 3. Now see here. 2 out of 3 tasks. 1, 2, 3. 3 containers started. 3 containers it is starting. It is scaling my application. This is called orchestration. I am managing my application containers by using Docker Swarm cluster. Docker service scale. Service name is equal to 3. I want to run my application in 3 containers. Good. Now let's go for sudo docker service ls. Now see how many replicas available now? Can you see how many replicas available now? Application speed will be available because it is running in 3 nodes cluster. 3 nodes cluster. Are you guys clear with my point? If you want to inspect that, you can do this. So sudo docker service ps service name. Now see here, when it is started, it is running in 3 ID, ports, Java web app 1, Java web app 2, Java web app 3. Image is the same. Node IP addresses are available like this. So running 3 minutes ago, running 44 seconds ago, running about a minute ago. First this created, First this created, then this created, then this created. So desired state running. In how many containers our application is running now? In how many? What is the purpose of Docker PS? Sudo Docker PS. It is used to display our containers. Now this container is running in 3-node cluster. Sudo Docker service PS Java web app. You see 3 replicas available. Sudo Docker service ls. 3 replicas are there. That means your application is running in 3 containers as a Docker service using Docker Swarm cluster. Are you guys clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? Come on, guys. Now let's observe this. Sudo Docker service ps java web app. Okay, spelling mistake for the service. Sudo Docker service ps java web app. Now, how many replicas are available, guys? Can you see the current state when these processes got started? One process started 5 minutes ago. The remaining 2 processes started 2 minutes ago. These are 2 worker nodes, containers, and this is our master node container. Okay. Now, 2 worker nodes are available. Master node assigned the task to the 2 worker nodes and containers are created with the 3 replicas and it is executing. It is executing. It is called scaling our containers by using cluster. Scaling our containers by using cluster. Okay, guys. Now, if I delete one worker node, if one node is failed, is it our responsibility to up another node? It is Docker Swarm responsibility to up another node. If one node got failed, is it our responsibility to up that node? It is Docker responsibility to up that node. It is the Docker Swarm responsibility to up that node. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. Now, can you see here? 3 nodes are displaying. Current state you observe. I will show you the difference with respect to the time. With respect to the time. Clear? Yeah. You can see here. 3 replicas are running as a Docker service for our image. 7 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago. 2 replicas started 4 minutes ago. 1 replica started 7 minutes ago. Good. Now I am going to second machine. I am going to remove this machine from cluster. I'm going to remove this machine from cluster. So this machine I want to remove from cluster. One machine. Second machine I'm going to remove from the cluster. How to remove a machine from the cluster? Docker Swarm leave. If you use join command, they will register. If you use leave command, they will exit from the cluster. Now, in the second worker node, I'm executing a command called sudo docker swarm leave. Node left the swarm. The node left the swarm. Now, see here. One node left the swarm. You check the timestamp. What is going to happen? Sudo docker service ls. Let's wait. It is taking some time. Now, can you see replica? Why we got fourth one? Guys, did I specify the fourth one? It came automatically. Come on, guys. Fourth one came automatically, or did I specify that I need fourth one? It came automatically. Can we say that node failures handled by Swarm cluster? Can I say that node failure handled by Swarm cluster? I removed one node. I removed one node from Swarm cluster. Okay. Sudo docker service ps java web app. Now see here. See here, this got shut down, failure. Another one started. If one node is failure, automatically cluster is going to set up another worker node to run our replicas. Can I say Swarm is managing Docker cluster? Can I say Swarm is managing Docker cluster? See here, 6 minutes ago it started, but it got shut down. This started about a minute ago. This is the recent one which got created by Docker Swarm. If one node is failed, automatically this Docker Swarm is handling that failure. It is making another node up, another service. It is going to make sure that. Understood? What is orchestration now? Guys, you understood what is cluster management, what is the Docker Swarm, and how it is going to help us? Nodes are 2, replicas are 3. In 2 nodes, multiple, that means in one machine, multiple containers can execute, right? Replica means copy. Replica means copy. Got it? Fine. Once your practice is completed, guys, now you can remove your service. So Docker service, that means if you want to down your application, then you can go with the Docker service RM Java web app. So I'm going to stop it. By using sudo, we can stop it. Now my service got stopped. If once my service stop means bringing application down. Sudo Docker service ls. Now no service is available. That got stopped. Sudo Docker service ps Java web app. No such service available with the name called Java web app. Got it? Yes. In one node also we can run 3 replicas. But load will be increased, right? We want to distribute the load. That's why we are going to create multiple worker nodes. We can run 3 replicas in one node also. But what with the problem? Load will be increased on that node. So that's why we are using 2 nodes. But in the real time, people will use 10 nodes like this. They want to distribute that load. If one node is failed, automatically Swarm is going to handle that failure. It is going to make another node up. Clear, guys? Now, so I want you guys to practice this Docker Swarm. So before coming to next session, once your practice is completed, now you need to stop all your machines. You can stop all your machines. Stop all your machines to avoid the billing. So I want you guys to practice this Docker Swarm. I'm going to upload these notes now to our portal. So please practice this before coming to next session. Docker Swarm, guys, so no need to put much effort on the Docker Swarm. The reason is, so people are not using that in the industry. People are using Kubernetes. So we will focus more on Kubernetes part for orchestration. All right. Yeah. Fine, guys. So please practice this before coming to Monday. We'll have our next class on Monday. Bye-bye. Good night.